Ladies and gentlemen, episode 143 of 101 here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network. And of course, airing on the amazing Bowie Television. Week 6 NFL season right here, like that. I mean, it happened so fast, but we are here for it as we enter the second week of football here in the month of October. And we got some good matchups coming up this week. It starts tonight with the San Francisco 49ers traveling to Seattle to take on the Seahawks in a NFC West divisional battle. Should be a good one tonight from Seattle. But it's time to find out where these teams stand, where they stack up as we get into week 6. And also we got to get the finale, the outside looking in. We're going to talk about the bottom, the top 10. Of course, our kings of the gridiron for week 5. We'll give you those. And of course, some big matchups this week. We got the Commanders and the Ravens. Who thought that at the beginning of the season that you'd have it as your big matchup card? But that's happening this Sunday. Your boy will have the opportunity to be there for that one. Very excited to see this matchup and see if Jaden can stand up to Lamar Jackson. Can they go toe-to-toe on Sunday? Well, we'll find out Sunday at 1 o'clock on CBS. But with all that being said, 101, episode 143. Let's get this bad boy started now.
One, 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 one. Welcome to the 101. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof. Welcome to the 101. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof. Welcome to 101 at Legacy Maker Sports Network.
Well, people, we are here. Episode 143 of 101 here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network, and of course, airing on the amazing Bowie Television. But we got a lot to get into, and I'm not going to hold you crazy long today. Do I ever really hold you long? Maybe first episode of the season, but there's just so much to get into, and so much movement that has happened, and so much change, and a new team in the top 5 for the first time. I mean, it's just. It was a very interesting week of football, and we got a lot to get into. Some people lost some jobs, and some people are injured, and there's just a lot going on. But let's go ahead and get into it and start off with the bottom. Bottom this week, the bottom. All right, starting off fresh at the bottom, the Carolina Panthers. Now, they know this spot well because they started the season off at the bottom. But now they're right back at the bottom. I had them maybe 31 at the beginning of the season, and then they dropped to the bottom. And now they climbed out of the bottom, got a win a couple weeks ago, and then they fall right back into the bottom after 2 straight losses. And this Carolina team it's just a work in progress. The one good thing that comes from this, I think they actually get the draft pick this year. I think they actually get the draft. I think the second round pick goes to Chicago, but it's just a lot going on right now in Carolina, and Andy Dalton does have his team playing a lot better. That I can say. This last game wasn't the cutest thing for them, and they played a Bears team that came in there and lit them up. Caleb Williams and the crew went to work. And what do you say about that? It was a great game for Caleb Williams. It was good to see the number 1 overall pick actually have a really solid game. 20 for 29. 304 yards and 2 TDs. So shout out to him. Now on the Carolina side of things, I definitely want to shout out Chuba Hubbard. I always say his name wrong, but Hubbard has been having a really good season, low key. And that 13 carries for 97 yards and a TD, just a solid season. But the Bears just outpowered them, and this Carolina team is still searching for their way. They're at 32. At 31, probably it was hard to watch. Now here's the thing: I get to see Carolina. Not this week, but I get to see them against Washington next week as they retire Darrell Green's jersey at Northwest Stadium. Got to get used to saying that. But we'll get a chance to see that then. And I'll get a chance to see what this Carolina team looks like up close in person. I don't know how excited I am about that because it just hasn't looked good, but we'll see. But I saw somebody who was just as bad, and they have some really good players on this team, and it's just not clicking. As the Cleveland Browns. My goodness. I mean, the Washington Commanders came out there and stomped a not a butthole, I was trying to go stone cold on that one, but stumped a mud hole in their behinds, and it was hard to watch. The Cleveland Brown offensive line is terrible. Deshaun Watson only 125 yards. He did throw a touchdown, but it was way too late. The Washington Commanders offense just went off. The defense was just all over the place. So it, the last couple weeks have been hard to watch. Losing to the Raiders, they lost to the Cowboys. They did beat the Jaguars, but the Jaguars have at least competed. This Browns team just seems like they're just giving up. Deshaun Watson, a lot of people saying that he's giving up. There's a lot going on there that they've got to figure out in Cleveland. They better figure out quick. Maybe it's the Jameis Winston show. I don't know, but whatever it is, they need a spark. But I bet you I know what they do wish. I bet you they do wish they still had Joe Flacco. The Browns are at 31. At 30, the New England Patriots. Well, not surprised here. New England still trying to get things where they need to be. They had a really competitive game with the Dolphins, a Dolphins team that's handicapped right now without their starting quarterback, with Tua being down. But you see this New England team, and they had a chance, and they just couldn't pull it off. But they decided they've given Jacoby Brissett time to kind of run the ship, and now they're going to turn to Drake May and see if the rookie can handle it. But, it's one of those things where I still think that the offensive line, I don't know if they're going to do enough to be able to protect them, but good luck to them. And, we'll see what they can do this week. I got New England at 30. At 29, I got the Tennessee Titans. They won a bye this week, so they catch a pass. They got to win in their last game, and they finally got off the schneid, but that was after Mason Rudolph had came in and did some good things. So they got the Colts this week. So it's a game that they can win. Those division rivalries in the AFC South have been weird so far, but they've been pretty solid games. So don't be surprised if Tennessee pulls this one off on Sunday. At 29, the LA Rams. Whew, boy, oh boy, oh boy. The Rams are just, they fought with Green Bay, had a chance, just wasn't enough. They're injured. That's the best thing I can say about the Rams. And I should have never picked them to go to the Super Bowl. It's my fault. So I apologize, LA Rams fan. That's all my fault. Whenever I have some support on a team, certain teams, it just don't go well. And I think that's what I'm going to chalk it up to. So sorry, LA fans. Rams are at 28. At 29, the Jacksonville Jaguars getting their first win of the season against the Colts. And it was a burnout shootout. But this is the Jacksonville Jaguars team in this game that maybe I thought we would see a little bit more high-scoring team. They're battling back and forth. It is a division matchup, but this is what I kind of expect, in these games, or competitive nature in these games between these two. So nice win for the Jaguars, but can they build off of it? That's going to be the question in hand. Can they build off of it? They got the Bears this week, so that's going to be an interesting one because Caleb Williams is starting to click, and can Trevor Lawrence, in the battle of the former first round, or the first round picks, first overall picks, I should say, as they go up against each other. So this is a test for both teams, but this is pretty big for Jacksonville right now because they're starting to call for Doug Peterson's head there in Jacksonville. At 26, the Miami Dolphins. I don't have a lot to say about this team because it's hard to judge this team with the injury to Tua, and they did win, but it's been ugly football. And if people thought, man, well, Tua didn't deserve this money, you watch this offense right now and tell me that Tua didn't deserve that money. you tell me that Tua didn't deserve the contract he got. Now, staying healthy has been another thing, but you can't sit here and tell me after watching this Dolphins team over the last couple of weeks that they sorely missed Tua, but in two that he definitely deserved that contract. So hopefully he gets better soon and he's back out there. And whatever decision he makes, but we won't know that until the end of October. So the Dolphins have to hold on tight. They're at 26. At 25, the Vegas Raiders. Whew, boy, this is a disaster. It's so bad I don't even want to talk about them. Minshew got benched, and they're Aiden O'Connell is back in the starting. Get my words out. Back as the starting man in Vegas. He had some decent games last year on that run. I mean, maybe Vegas made a mistake by, not keeping that momentum going with O'Connell. I mean, it wasn't super great, but they played better football. And now Coach Pierce is going to try to, make something happen with that. I still think this Raiders team is going to try their best to go after our top flight quarterback next year. And that's obvious at this point. Something's got to give. Can't stay the way it is. Devontae Adams wants out, and that's got to be tough. That's your star receiver wants to go. And then there was talk that Max Crosby was saying the same thing. And I don't know how much he mean it, or he was just showing support to Devontae. But man, it's rough right now. It's rough right now for the Raiders. They're at 25. At 24, the Bengals. The Bengals had a really good game against the Ravens. But what they did is what they couldn't do, and they blew a 10-point lead. They were up 38. I believe it was 38-28. And they gave the lead away. And this Ravens team, who you can't let them hang around as long as they got Lamar Jackson at quarterback, and they were able to pull off the win in overtime, 41-38, after Derrick Henry made a great run. That got him within I believe inside the 5, and then Justin Tucker went and knocked it in for the win. So the Bengals seem like they're trying to get there, but they've got to figure that out quick too, because they're at 1-4. Defense is not playing as well as they would like, and on top of that, it's been really rough for the offensive line. At 23, the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts lost a tough one to the Jaguars, but they're also another team that's like, you just never really know. It could go either way, and you wouldn't be shocked. I'm not 100% sure if Richardson is going to be back this week, but if not, they got Joe Flacco. So there's nothing to worry there, because Joe's still going to keep them competitive. Colts are at 23. At 22, the New Orleans Saints. Monday Night Football comes. It looked like it might have been tight at one point. They lose Derek Carr. Spencer Rattler, the the 5th round pick, former Oklahoma quarterback, is going to be the starter this week. So we may get a glimpse of the Saints' future and see what he can do. I'm intrigued. I do have him on my fantasy team as one of my practice squad players, so I'm intrigued to see what it looks like this weekend. So, good luck to Spence and see how that goes. I've got the Saints at 22. At 21, the New York Football Jets. No longer head coach Robert Saleh. It's it was a crazy situation. There was talks that Saleh went in the locker room, went kooka nutty, or not in the locker room, but they had to drag my man out of the stadium. I don't know how true that was, but they definitely had security walk him out. And I don't think that Saleh had a fair deal this year. There was a lot that went into everything that was going on, and we'll see. The defensive coordinator is going to be the interim coach, and I'm the name is escaping me at the time, but that's where they go. I thought they might have went Hackett, but I think the Jets also thought if they went Hackett, it's going to look like Aaron Rodgers was the one that pushed him out the door. So it's just come off of a tough loss in London to the Vikings, 23-17. They hung in there, but the Vikings would pull off the win, so they can move to 5-0. So we'll see. But there it is, ladies and gentlemen, the bottom. The Panthers, the Browns, the Patriots, the Titans, the Rams, the Jaguars, the Dolphins, the Raiders, the Bengals, the Colts, the Saints, and the New York Football Jets. Boy, oh boy, the bottom. It is it's looking a little rough down there. But kind of like last year, we have a lot of these teams that are in betweeners right now, and it's still early in the season. I keep saying that, but that's kind of where it is. We're still waiting for teams to kind of separate themselves. There's a couple of teams that have, but it's not quite there yet. But last year we had teams all the way up into the bottom, maybe into week 14, 15, that were still in the mix of the playoffs. Could be the same thing this year. We'll see. But let's go to the outside looking in. All right, outside looking in. Let's start at number 20, the New York Football Giants. Pleasant win for the Giants on Sunday against the Seahawks. There was a blocked field goal. There was just great play by the Giants. No number one receiver, no Malik Neighbors, gone. Devin Singletary was out for this game as well. They brought in Ty Tracy, who they drafted in the 3rd day of the draft from Purdue. He had a solid game. And Wendell Robinson, who they drafted a couple of years back, believe in the 3rd round. I could be wrong on that. Y'all can fact check me if need be. And he had a really good game. So the Giants, did what they needed to do in Seattle. They got a win. Darius Slay had a throwback game. He had eight receptions for 122 yards in the TD. They look good. Shout out to Brian Daboll and them, not giving up. And when people say they're going to be the worst team or one of the worst teams, me, in the league, they're competing. They could easily be 3-2 right now. They could beat the Commanders in week 2. Just didn't happen that way. They could have beat the Dallas Cowboys. They could be 4-1. So they've been competing. So we'll see how the Giants go. I got a little bit more faith in them than I've had them in the last, maybe a couple weeks. I've had them just losing on top of losing, but you'd be surprised to know that I have them winning this week, which probably means they will lose. So the Giants are at 20. At 19, San Francisco 49ers losing to the number 18 team, the Cardinals. It was a really tight game in the NFC West game, so you're gonna have strong competition in that one. It's going to be a back and forth, and it could go either way, and that's the way it did. The 49ers are hurting, and they just have to get healthy, and I think that's what hurting this team right now. Even Kittle is, I believe, questionable heading into this game. They're hurt, and if they can get unhurt, they might be all right. So until that happens. So right now, San Francisco's in a little bit of a rough situation there at 19. Cardinals at 18. Still not impressed with the team. They did have some good plays, and like I said, they're going to compete against the NFC West team. I saw them in person. I was not impressed with what I saw in person. But they did play better last week. And here's the thing: leading up into that Washington game, I thought that they were playing good football. So maybe they just had a bad week. Cardinals at 18. At 17, the Chargers, they were on the bye. So we'll see how they look this week. The Chargers, will be taking on the Broncos, who are hot right now. They're number 15, 3 straight wins. And then we got the Eagles. They're also on the bye last week. They are at number 16. So they have a matchup against the Browns, which they should win, but we'll see. At 15, the Broncos on that 3-game winning streak. The Broncos are playing good football, y'all. I mean, that's just, it. No, let me clarify. They're not playing good football, but they're playing tough football. My guy, Nick Higgs, God rest his soul, I know he would be proud of this team fighting because they're definitely doing that. They are competing, beat Tampa Bay, who made the playoffs last year, won the NFC South, beat the Jets in a dogfight, but they've come out and played. They're another team that could easily be 5-0. They played Seattle tough and lost in a tough one. They played Pittsburgh tough and lost in a tough one. So they're playing tight in these games, but they're still trying to figure it out. So shout out to the Broncos. They're hanging in there at 15. At 14, the Bears. Caleb Williams starting to come into his own, which is a bad thing for the NFC North. To see if that continues to flow. They got the Jaguars this week. Should be an interesting one. And I'm intrigued to see how how Caleb Williams continues to grow. That's one of the biggest things I want to see. If the offensive line is gonna protect him and keep him upright, those are the things that I'm interested in seeing. And is Keenan Allen gonna really start to break out here soon? I know he's been hurt, so let's see if that kind of comes into fruition. At number 13, the Pittsburgh Steelers. They lost to the Cowboys, who had a 12 team. Another tight contest. They had to wait a little while because there was some lightning at the game, so they pushed it back. I don't think they finished until sometime past midnight. But Dallas ended up getting the win 20-17 over Pittsburgh in a really tight contest. So Steelers at 13, Cowboys at 12. At 11, the Seahawks. Now, even though they lost to the Giants, I still think they're a better team than what we saw in that game. I think they had a little bit of a rough spot, and Mike McDonald will have to try to figure that thing out there this week coming up. But I still think they're probably right now the better of these teams in the outside looking in. But we'll see if they can keep things going this week. They got San Francisco tonight, so that could change. San Francisco could move back up, and Seattle could be falling back down. But we'll see. Here it is, outside looking in. Giants, 49ers, Cardinals, Chargers, Eagles, Broncos, Bears, Steelers, Dallas Cowboys, and the Seattle Seahawks. So the outside looking in, set to go. Now we get into this top 10 where, like I said, at the beginning of the season, some of these people you be like, ain't no way, Darrell. Ain't no way. But it's happening that way. Let's go into the top 10. Top 10. Number 10, the Tampa Bay Bucks. They lost in a really, a really tough game against the number 7 team on this power ranking, the Atlanta Falcons. A game that I picked Tampa Bay to win because I thought that Tampa Bay has been playing pretty well as a team, a complete team. But this is another one of those divisional matchups that you just never know how they go. And Kurt and them also been playing solid for the most part. They battled with the champs a couple of weeks ago. Might have been last week. I keep saying a couple of weeks ago, but they battled with the champs not so long ago. There we go. There's better words. And they hung in there. So this was a great Thursday night matchup, competitive Thursday night matchup, and something that the NFL wants to see on those Thursday night games. They want those primetime games to be competitive games. And that's what they've been, I think, for the most part. The Giants and the Cowboys game was competitive. So they've had some decent ones so far. Bucks are at 10. At 9, the Buffalo Bills. They lost to the Texans, and it was a little bit rough, but I still like Buffalo overall. I thought about putting them at 10, but you got Josh Allen. I think they'll figure it out. And the Texans are just the Texans right now. And I like the Texans. I got the Texans making a deep run in the playoffs, but like I said, that's also early. We'll see on that. I got the Bills at 9. We'll see how they do. At 8, the Green Bay Packers. I don't even know if they deserve this, but people are probably saying, oh, you picking them because of your boy. Whatever. But I do think them being the youngest team in football, and they at times they just show like a lot of good things. They haven't had any bad losses. The losses they had are games that they probably should have won. So in my opinion, they probably should be 5-0. They definitely should have. They started off so bad against the Vikings. They had a chance to still win that game at the end. Then the Eagles game was just a little rough, and they were winning in that one, and they just kind of let it slip. So they're a better team than what we've been seeing. I got them at 8. And they got the Cardinals this week, but this is a trap game. They got to be ready for that one because Kyler Murray ain't going to be no joke in Green Bay, so they'll have to be ready. At 7, the Atlanta Falcons, playing good football right now, and I had a feeling that they would start to climb up at some point during this season. Kurt seems like he's got London and the boys ready to roll. I'd like to see Bijan Robinson get a little bit more into it after that last game, so we'll see if they kind of make that happen. But I like the Falcons, and they're trending up. They're at 7. At 6, the Baltimore Ravens. Nice comeback win against the Cincinnati Bengals. Lamar wasn't too thrilled about the way it went down, but a win is a win, and you'll take it whatever way you can get it. And, shout out to the Ravens. And they got a big matchup against the number 5 team this week, the Washington Commanders. The Washington Commanders are in the top 5. I can't believe it. I am shocked. I am blown away. I am baffled. I cannot believe the Washington Commanders are in the top 10, but they deserve it. 4 straight wins. Jaden Daniels playing great football. Brian Robinson, who I had at the beginning of the season, is one of my breakout players. Thank you, Brian, for making me look good so far. I appreciate you. Appreciate you dearly. He's playing well. So watching this Washington team kind of get it together. Now it's against teams that have been struggling. So that's duly noted, as some people would say. They got that locked in their memory. It's a big game this week. It's an honor for me to even be in the presence for this game, to be able to see it live and see if Washington can move to 5-1 and continue to shock people, or will we see this Baltimore Ravens team get the dub that they need? Washington still has a chance to be on top in the East, but it'll be a great game on Sunday. If the NBC did their best to try to get this game on Sunday Night Football, and I think the football gods that did not happen. I'm glad it's a 1:00 game. Ain't nobody trying to be out there that late. And shout out to CBS for holding that in. So 1:00 Sunday, Daniels versus Jackson, Heisman winner versus Heisman winner. Should be a fun one. At 4, the Lions, they were on bye last week, so they're still chilling, relaxing, all cool, shooting some b-ball outside of school. They got the Cowboys this week. I think they win that one. At number 3, the Houston Texans. The rough week, that week they played the Vikings. They just didn't show up that week, but they've showed up in every other week, and they're 4-1. So I got them at 3. The Vikings are at 2. I could easily put the Vikings at 1 and be happy with it, but the champs have not lost, and the champs have been number 1 since the season started for that reason. Until they lose and give me a reason for them not to be number 1, they're going to be number 1. So, with that being said, here's the top 10. The Buccaneers at 10. The Bills at 9, Packers at 8, Falcons at 7, Ravens at 6, Commanders. The Washington Commanders are at 5. I'm still baffled. Number 4, the Lions. Number 3, the Texans. Number 2, the Vikings. And number 1, the Kansas City Chiefs. Oh, boy. Oh, boy, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. There is our top 10. Our power rankings are locked and loaded, and everybody knows where people stand heading into week 6. But now let's finish up with some important business, and let's finish with the finale. All right, so finale in hand, and it is time for, I'm becoming my new favorite segment. It is time for Kings of the Gridiron. Who are the players of the week on the offensive defensive side of the ball for week 5 of the NFL season? Let's go ahead and let's take a peek at who it is.
Let's get ready to rumble. Who want war in the ring? Who want war with the king? Bring all the balls you can bring. It ain't gonna cost you a thing. You ain't bring the sauce to the ring. You must send the sauce in the ring.
Hello, everyone, and now we're back for another edition of Kings of the Gridiron. This time for week 5 of the NFL season. Another great week in the books, and we've got our Kings of the Gridiron right here for you. Let's go and start on the offensive side of the ball with Atlanta Falcons QB Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins had himself another amazing performance in his career, throwing for 509 yards, 42 for 58 for 509 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an interception in a 36-30 win over Tampa Bay in overtime. Kirk Cousins and this Falcons team are starting to click just a little bit, and as they're starting to find their footing, they could be dangerous as the season goes along, and they beat a very tough Tampa Bay Buccaneers team that has been playing pretty solid football so far this season. But Kirk had things rocking and rolling. They had a really good game against Kansas City about a week or so ago. They couldn't pull it off. Now they get a nice win on Thursday Night Football. Offensive Player of the Week, Mr. Kirk Cousins. Now we head to our Defensive Player of the Week, our King of the Gridiron for the defensive side of the ball, Mr. Patrick Surtain II. What a day for Pat. Pat had 3 tackles, 2 interceptions, 1 going back for 100 yards on the pick 6 to help elevate this Denver team to a 34-18 victory over Vegas. And guess what, y'all? The Denver Broncos are on a 3-game winning streak and shocking some people in the league right now, including your boy. With that being said, there it is. Our Week 5 Kings of the Gridiron, Mr. Kirk Cousins, 42 for 58, 509 yards, 4 touchdowns a pick. And there it is, our Kings of the Ring for Week 5, Mr. Kirk Cousins, 42 for 58, 509 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an interception with that win over Tampa Bay. And Patrick Surtain with 3 tackles, 2 picks, and a TD, and that 34-18 win over Vegas. Once again, everybody, that has been Kings of the Gridiron. We'll see you next week for our Week 6 Kings of the Gridiron. Kings of the Gridiron. There they are. Kirk Cousins, 42 for 58, 509 yards, 4 TDs and an interception. 36-30 win over Tampa in overtime on Thursday Night Football last week. And then Patrick Surtain, 3 tackles, 2 picks, and a touchdown. 34-8 victory over Vegas. And so shout out to those guys becoming our Kings of the Gridiron. I never said King of the Ring during the video, but Kings of the Gridiron here for week number 5. We'll see who will grab the mantle in week number 6. Heading to our MVP rankings, we got a new guy in the MVP spot. He probably should have been in there last week, but it is what it is. At number 5, Baker Mayfield, still having a pretty solid season for the most part. I still like what they're doing down in Tampa. I think he's playing good football. At number 4, Derrick Henry, who's been a monster the last couple of weeks and probably could go higher on this list. But as they continue to rock with him, I like the things I'm seeing for Derrick Henry. At number 3, Mr. Jaden Daniels. Need I say more? We've all seen how well Jaden has played so far this season and the great things that he's been able to accomplish for this Washington team. So it's early, but a big matchup against Derrick Henry and those Baltimore Ravens this week, which I cannot wait to see in person. At number 2, we got Pat Mahomes and the defending MVP. Look, it hasn't been pretty or anything like that or super sexy, but they're doing what they need to do to be 5-0 and keep things rocking and rolling. At number 1, Sam Darnold. I'm just impressed about what Sam Darnold has done and this turnaround part of his career. And I like what they're doing, even though it's with the ugliest jersey that could possibly be in that Minnesota Viking jersey. I'm so happy for Sam Darnold, seeing him do well. I have him at number 1 right now in the MVP candidates. I know a lot of people got Jaden Daniels, but I think Darnold really deserves some love on this. You really need to pay attention to what he's been able to do so far. Next, my picks for, the last couple of weeks, winning weeks, still not that separation, man. I got to get that 13-win week, that 12 win. I need that. I need that in my life. Hopefully that happens this week because I got to get this 40 and 38 is not working. This is just not working. I need to go on some streaks. I need to get out of the hole, man. It's been rough. I got, but I'm above 500, and that's the most important thing. Then our NFL experts of the week for week 5, Cody with a 10-4 record. JB, James rocking and rolling. He had a 10-4 record. Jess, Justice had a really good week. She went 10-4. So shout out to Justice for another great. And Rob going 10-4. Rob making some leeway in the All-Star division. So good weeks for experts getting 10 wins last week. Of course, Katie leading the way in the All-Star division by a 2-game lead over Russ. So she's still hanging in there. Joe slipped back one spot, but is still hanging in there. In the legend side of things, Cody has made a run here. He's only a game behind Joey after Joey had a really rough week last week. And so that was able to give him a 5-game swing and put him within striking distance. Even James made a little bit of a run and Victor. So it's a really tight race. Except for your boy down there at the bottom, man. It's in that 40. I gotta get in that striking distance. I'm 9 games out of first, and I don't like it. That has to be fixed. It has to change. Then we head into tonight. Tonight, I got the Seahawks beating the San Francisco 49ers 24-20. I need to win Seattle. I'm trying to keep, I'm already mad at Tampa Bay for messing me up last week. I should be 5-0. It is what it is. I'll take the L and just go with it. But I need a win this week, so I need you to go ahead and make that happen. And then overall, for the week, I got the Seahawks, the Jaguars, the Bucks, the Ravens, the Packers, the Colts, the Texans, the Eagles, Broncos, Steelers, Falcons, Lions, the Giants. Got the Giants beating the Bengals. And then I have the Bills all getting wins this week. All right, everybody, that's it. Episode 143 is in the books here of 101. Thank you all for tuning in for another episode as we break down those power rankings. Of course, we'll be back next week to give you that peek into week 7. I bring our Kings of the Gridiron, see, both the Falcons and not the Falcons, both the Vikings and the Chiefs don't play. So there's a strong chance that they'll probably still be the top 2 teams unless the Texans just really impress in their matchup, but they're playing the Patriots. So as of right now, that's probably where that's going to stay. But there could be movement a lot other places. I mean, if Washington wins, goodness, Washington can creep themselves right on up into the top 4, maybe even the top 3, depending on how it goes with a win. So it'll be an interesting week in football. But we're glad that everybody came by to talk, some power rankings with us and then kind of go over all that fun stuff. I'm Darrell Owens, Legacy Maker Sports Network, of course, Bowie Television. Super, super excited for another week of football. And I can't wait to join you all next week for another one. Until then, this is Darrell Owens. This has been 101 on the Legacy Maker Sports Network and Bowie Television.
One, 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 one. Welcome to the 101. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof.